This was a paid request from Frame by Frame. For those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, commentaries, video game stuff, reviews, re-reviews, reactions, whatever. PayPal is usually the best bet. Links are down below in info box. I also got a Patreon. Links are down below in info box under most of these videos. Spider-Man Lotus is the worst Spider-Man film I have ever seen in my life. I do not like Spider-Man 3 at all. I hate it. This was worse. I would rather watch Topher Grace be a dumbass as Venom, wannabe Venom, and the stupid butler and the stupid stuff, because stuff actually happens in that movie. There's a lot of dumb, stupid stuff happens, but stuff happens. You know, there's a phrase a wise man once said: a man's got to know his limitations. Sadly, the people who made this fan film, they didn't follow that. Now, I know there's a whole backstory where I heard about this fan film forever. I just forgot about it. Just someone asked me on a stream, like, what's that? I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Just, I always thought it was a stupid title, Spider-Man Lotus. Why is it called Lotus? What about his Lotus? Stupidly, for a split second, I thought it was fucking Lotus Blossom from the old Ninja Turtles cartoon. What the hell is Spider-Man Lotus? What about Lotus? This movie should be called Emo Man. It should be called Crybaby Man. Because the director and the writer who's the star of the film, who plays Peter Parker, these two guys, apparently they say a lot of stupid stuff where they either call people the F word that rhymes with maggot, or the N word, and then one of them like blamed it on they're schooling in Arkansas, or wherever the hell they're from, or the one guy, whatever. I'm not going to get into all that. Does that stuff, whatever, you know, it's not good. You shouldn't do that shit. I just think your movie fucking sucks. And the fact that the director went on and said, I'll go elevate fan films. You know what elevate fan films? Yeah, it's an elevator, right? It went down to the fucking basement. Like Speed. After a fucking bomb from Dennis Hopper. There are plenty of fan films better than this one. Kung Fury knew what it was and was more creative and more interesting in what it was doing with its visuals. Kung Fury is much better. Never Hike Alone, the Friday the 13th one. I may dislike them assholes because I didn't like their second one, and the director got butthurt and left like 85 War and Peace documents of commentary under the comment section. Then he deleted all of them. Because I'm spinning back and forth, I'm like, I still think this sucks. So, Womp Stomp can have a foot stomped on their balls for all I care. But I still like their first film. I still thought it was really good. The acting, the concept, they knew their limitations. We got a guy to play Jason. We got one guy who's doing like footage and filming for YouTube or whatever. They had a nice location. Again, they knew their limitations, and they were able to structure it to a fairly well-paced movie that wasn't 2 hours long. This is 2 hours long. It didn't need to be. There's like 85 goddamn establishing shots of New York. We get it. You're in New York. You don't need 85 establishing shots. The writer who decided to play Peter Parker, you made a mistake, fool. Because you talking with Gwen Stacy, you have as much chemistry as the fucking people in Twilight. And you're just as moody and emo as that shit. And it's funny that these people were talking shit about the actresses. I mean, you're right, the actresses couldn't act. But you couldn't act either, and you were the worst actor, and you played Peter Parker. I would say you were the worst actor in the fucking movie. It's a fan film. Most fan films have shitty acting, let's be honest. Because they're not established actors. Although I think Never Hike Alone, the acting was actually pretty good. And Kung Fury, they acted like they should in that type of film and that type of aesthetic. But okay, fine, the actress didn't do a good job, but you didn't do a good job either. Peter Parker, whoever the hell your name is, Mr. Writer. You did an awful shit job, right? So you can't write and you can't act, so you have no room to talk. And they got over $100,000. You know what a lot of us could do with over $100,000? And hey, I get the idea, as in, you want to have Spider-Man, you want to make it more serious. I get that idea, dude. The idea and an idea. I did it. If I knew what the fuck to do and I had over $100,000, I would want to make a Raphael Ninja Turtle fan film. And I want to get into the psyche of the character and psychology of the character. But I also would want to have action and thrills and maybe a bit of violence and gore for the shits and giggles, and be like a ode to Jean-Claude Van Damme's Hard Target era of movies. And get the entertainment factor. This had no entertainment factor for 2 hours. See, people watch Spider-Man, they can appreciate the seriousness of losing Uncle Ben and losing Gwen Stacy. They also want to be entertained. But you missed that part. And also Spider-Man, a part of him was humor. And you definitely missed that part. So let's have a Spider-Man that's humorless, melodramatic, and emo for 2 hours. You thought To Be or Not to Be McCryer was emo in Spider-Man 3? This tripled that. Holy shit balls of fire. Over $100,000 to watch a guy cry for 2 hours. Fucking hell. So, it starts with a chase scene with a CGI car. I mean, I guess they felt, well, we got over $100,000, so let's have this. You know what? Don't have that. You know what you could do? Just get a couple extras. Have a guy snatching some purses. Or snatching some shit. He gets in, maybe he gets in their car. Starts. Then you cut the Spider-Man, swinging. Which those scenes look good. If somehow the effects guys watch this review, probably not. You did the best you could, the effects guys. Because Spider-Man swinging was actually really good for a fan film. You probably didn't get paid shit. And the way these assholes seem like, the director-writer probably treated you like shit. But you did a damn good job for a fan film. Like the 2-3 scenes of Spider-Man swinging, look movie quality. I give you that. That's one positive I'll say. Visual effects guys, you did the best you could. The stuff with the shocker and him shooting these beams, they didn't look that good, but, you know, it's a fan film. It's still a fan film, and for some reason the director had to make this 2 hours, so that means there was a lot more filming in the can. Payment for probably, you would think the actors, other people, to time equals money is what I'm getting at. That's why this should have been just half the running time. So that's an hour of footage of stuff you could save money to shoot and just use that money to make the shocker scenes look a bit better. But anyway. So nice Spidey swinging effects. Kudos to the people in the effects. And if you're watching, hey, if you ever want to talk, let me know. Or if not, put your comments in the comment thing. And you did, whatever. You just say whatever you want. Free country. So you get to Spider-Man, and he comes down, and this is where it looks much more like a fan film. And I get it, he's wearing a mask, so your voice would be muffled. But there's a reason why we don't want to hear that shit. Hello there, I'm Spider-Man. What are you doing, Spider-Man? I'm Shocker. There's a reason why, yeah, that may be more realistic, but we want to hear that shit. Because muffler men. Listen to a bunch of people talk muffled for a few minutes. And you can tell these people don't know how to shoot action sequences. Sometimes there's shots that are too close, sometimes there's shots that are too shaky, and you can't tell what's going on. Sometimes Spider-Man's doing like a nice little flip in here and there, but it's funny, there's a point where he shoots two guys with his web and uses them to block the shocker blast. Now, does the shocker blast kill regular people? Or did they just get incapacitated? Spider-Man's got super strength, so he could handle it. But these other guys, can they handle that? Because Spider-Man doesn't want to kill people. But this movie doesn't. So I don't know if they got killed or not. And the jokes aren't that funny. Like, this is like one of the only times Spider-Man tries to be funny. I guess that's why he's not funny for most of the film, because it failed in this scene. But that's the writer and star for you. So after beating Shocker in his cosplay outfit, he goes and gets Gwen Stacy. And there's Gwen Stacy, there's MJ, there's Harry, and then there's him. And you're all a bunch of morose motherfuckers, these group of characters. And this is supposed to be the good times before the shit rolls downhill. I'm like, this is the good times? I've seen people have better times at a funeral. But this is supposed to be the good times before the shit gets bad. Everyone's some moody, morose motherfuckers. And then you get this moody, morose narration. It felt like it would never end until you... I'm like, Gwen Stacy feels like she barely tolerates Peter Parker. And Peter Parker just seems moodier than anybody in Twilight. You guys are having fun? Beats the shit out of me if you are or not. And so many damn stabbing shots. We get it, we're in New York. Then you have the opening credits, which shows the death of Gwen Stacy through artwork. That's the second positive I will say. Whoever drew the artwork, you did a good job. The person who did the effects in Spider-Man swinging, or people, and the person who drew the artwork, you folks did a good job. Sorry I was in this piece of shit. What's a fan film, Matt? No, it costs over $100,000. Was there a feature films that cost over $100,000? Hell, Clerks cost less than that. But that actually had good dialogue. There's other films that cost over $100,000. And also for how the people, the star, writer, and then the director, how they acted like pieces of trash to people, how they acted trashy to people, how they were assholes to people, and then had this ego of, we're going to elevate fan films and you'll never look at a fan film the same again. The fucking Casey Jones fan film someone did was better than this. Fuck. And that's fucking sad, There's that one guy that wanted to do a Raphael fan film called TMNT Banished. He doesn't get funded, but this piece of shit got funded. That pisses me off more. Maybe that film would have sucked too. But I wish those folks got $100,000 to do that Raphael fan film where he's banished and he's got to live by himself and I want to see that movie, but no. This piece of shit got funded. It was a waste of fucking time. So yeah, that pisses me off. So after the nice artwork of opening credits that shows the death of Gwen Stacy, which of course, there might be people that don't even know how that happened. Like you assume Spider-Man, but there's some people like, hey, maybe they're new to Spider-Man and it was a Green Goblin, there was a bridge, she falls, he tries to catch her neck snapped though, so she died. And also her dad, Captain Stacy, died. And he went after Green Goblin, then Green Goblin died. So after that, then Spider-Man has come home, he's bloodied up. The TV announcer, we hear him talking, but it's the worst TV announcer I've heard. Because he sounds like he's announcing the A-Team is coming. If you have a problem, and if you can find them. That's what he sounds like. Breaking news. We have found the deaths of Gwen Stacy and Captain Stacy. I'm like, are you going to announce the A-Team is coming? If you do find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team. Maybe that's what Spider-Man needed. Spider-Man needed to hire the A-Team to stop fucking... Maybe this TV announcer could help him find them. And also, why is the film looking like I'm wearing goddamn sunglasses as I'm watching the fucking film? I had to keep taking my glasses. I'm like, nope, I don't have sunglasses on. They're just regular glasses. Because everything is filtered and tinted and low lighting. Because it's moody. Yeah, I actually want to see the shit. But the entire fucking film looks like I'm watching through sunglasses. So then he's at the gravesite. Gwen Stacy's been buried. And Mary Jane comes up. And I get it that he's going through turmoil and trouble, but he becomes such an unsympathetic piece of trash human being. Yelling at MJ going, you never worry about anything. You're a joke. Just worry about not being the center of attention. You know, if you took a second to think, you could have learned from her. Not just one or two, like all the shit he said. I'm like, douchebag. Douchebag. Fuck off. And then Harry's been missing, and then Peter comes home, then Harry's on the couch, and they're fucking arguing and crying and moody and talking about abandonment. And Harry's like, well, I lost my dad, too. Because his dad is... Norman Osborn was found. He didn't know that Norman and Green Goblin were the same. Even though it's like, oh yeah. But then he still treats Harry like shit. And Harry says, you're too selfish. I'm like, you're right. So they made Peter Parker an emo, selfish bitch boy. And this director and this writer thought this was such a great telling of Spider-Man. We're going to do so much better than the movies. Because that was his ego. We're going to do so much better than the movies. Yeah, you have to do some study. And that was another thing I was going to say. Yeah, you could give me $100,000 to do a Raphael fan film. That doesn't mean I would do a good job, because I don't know shit about filmmaking. I would have to actually learn how the shit works. Because I could have some fun ideas, but I would need to know how the shit works. Need to study. I think you should study filmmaking before asking for $100,000 fucking dollars. Just saying. I mean, I could probably do that right now. Hey, today I'm going to do a blah 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 GoFundMe. This is $100,000 to do a Raphael fan film. No, because I don't know how to do the shit. Unless I know how to do the shit. Shh. And why do you think this was a love letter to Spider-Man? Make him an emo, selfish asshole. Moody, and for 2 hours. There's a nightmare sequence where he's looking at Gwen Stacy, and then he's imagining Green Goblin. Some of the thing, I think there's another nightmare scene. The interesting thing is that it's in black and white, and the only thing in color is Spider-Man and his red. That's a cool visual motif. So I guess that's a third positive I'll say. But then it cuts to Peter Parker finds some home movies, and he watches them for 3 minutes. Crying, and the home movies, we just see all the home movies for 3 goddamn minutes. Then cut to Harry Osborn walk around New York moody for 2.5 minutes. This is why it's 2 hours long. 3 minutes to watch home movies. 2.5 minutes to walk around with some shitty sad song. Walk around New York. Two and a half minutes. Might not sound long, but you're watching the time click by, it feels long. Then you get your second little fight where we see a flashback of Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin. Oh, by the way, for what I understand, the guy who played the Green Goblin might have been a pedo. So that's great. And the fight scene I would talk about, but it's too goddamn shaky. I couldn't tell what the fuck was going on. And sometimes the shots were too close when it should have been much wider shots to get the full effect. And they spent too much time showing Green Goblin's face. You could tell, like, he had the teeth and... What did he look like? He looked like either the troll from Cat's Eye, the Stephen King Cat's Eye, or Rumpelstiltskin, that movie. Both better than this movie. Oh yeah, I gotta mention this. The Mary Jane, she finds Flash Thompson. I'm sitting there going, that's Flash Thompson? Just thinking Flash Thompson like a big football player guy. I look bigger than this guy. This guy looks like a twig. So, terrible miscasting of Flash Thompson. And then he's talking about how, oh, you know, Peter Parker, you know what, I used to pick on him, and even with that, he was nice to me. See, we can't see Peter Parker being nice. We have to be told it. Because we can't see the shit. We have to be told it. Hey, there's a thing, show, don't tell. So he's saying, but hey, dialogue costs the least amount of money. So if you did your film to be 2 hours, have a lot of dialogue scenes or just walking around and play some shitty, sad music. So he says the line... So he's talking about his dad, and his dad wasn't around, and Peter Parker helped him. So he says, my dad wasn't around much. And when he was around. My dad wasn't around much, but when he was around. Round what? A round beach ball? What the fuck? Yeah, around. That's like that shitty tagline for Expendables 4. They'll die when they're dead. No shit, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. I'm glad you solved the case. Thank you, Flash. No wonder you're a dumbass in school. When my dad was around, he was around. You sure? Maybe he's John Cena. You can't see him. I don't fucking know. So then I know this was another comic they took from. Spider-Man sees a kid who has terminal cancer. I believe in the comic, though, it was an actual reveal. Like, you don't know why he's seeing this kid. And then the reveal at the end is, oh my god, he's a terminal kid. So it was like a nice emotional reveal. But they don't do that. They give it away from the beginning. So, great storytelling there. And then, like, this kid, he has all this Spider-Man memorabilia, Spider-Man video game. I don't know if this video game was made for the movie. Maybe it was. Should have been playing Maximum Carnage. But then Spider-Man starts trauma dumping on the fucking kid. First, like, well, why do you have me for a hero? Why do you have Captain America? Why do you have Thor? Kid, I'm not a hero. I can't help anybody. And, like, at one point starts telling him his fucking backstory about how Uncle Ben died. Which is a weird flashback, because for how much these folks want to talk about how they want to stick to the source. Actually, I'm trying to think now. It's been a while since I read those comics. Let me go back a sec. I'm trying to think. Did Spider-Man have his costume when he fought the wrestler? Maybe he did? I just now I'm so used to, like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man where he had, like, a little outfit. Maybe he did. I think that. Maybe he did. So I'll take that back. Been forever since I read the original comic. So, Because again, I'm so used to other iterations where he didn't have the full costume, but maybe he did. I would just try to look for something to bitch about, which I shouldn't, because there's plenty of other shit to bitch about, like the fact he's dumping all this info on a kid, and you know what the kids say? Bitch, please, I have terminal cancer. I'm gonna die within a year. I'm sorry about your fucking problems, Spider-Man, but I'm not even gonna get to puberty. I'm not gonna be able to fuck. I'm not gonna be able to drink. I'm not gonna be able to drive the car. Sorry about your fucking problems, Spider-Man, but I'm gonna fucking die in a fucking year. I'm gonna try to sound like a generic New Yorker. Fucking Spider-Man will fucking die in a fucking year. Can't have a fucking girlfriend. Can't do fucking shit. I'm not really know what the fuck movies come out next year. They're gonna be fucking dead. But 6 feet fucking under in the fucking cemetery. So, sorry about your fucking problems, but I got shit to do with myself. This 10-year-old kid, he's 10 years old. The Spider-Man is dumping all his problems onto him. Using this kid as Dr. fucking Phil. And she should be like, yeah, that's good to hear, but I'm gonna be dead in a fucking year. Because there's a line where he's like, when's your birthday? Is that I'm going to be, and then the kid stops himself, and he's like, oh, it's in August or something. He stops himself because he figures he's not going to be alive by his next birthday. And Spider-Man doesn't catch that shit. I caught the shit, but Spider-Man is so goddamn selfish and think about himself, he didn't even catch that shit. I did, but he didn't. He's just a selfish prick. And during this flashback of, he's like, that day, I let that guy go and I was too selfish. You still fucking are too selfish, so you haven't learned a goddamn thing. Trauma dumping on a terminal cancer kid. And the kid has to remind him, hey, you saved people, and has his book with all the newspaper clippings of the people he saved. The kid has to remind him. And then you have this awful scene of Mary Jane just crying in a car with Harry Osborn, and he's crying, and she's crying, and they're crying, and I'm crying, because I want this movie to be fucking over. And we're all crying. We're all crying. For different reasons, I guess. So now Spider-Man's going to be Spider-Man again, because the terminal cancer kid who he trauma dumped finally told him, hey, you did save some people. And then he starts hanging out with Harry and Mary Jane again. And then he hears some sirens. He going to swing again. Oh, I forgot the one other shot of Spider-Man where it's in the rain, and you just tell the background is completely fake, and it's like, again, you gotta know your limitations, man, because, you know, people don't see that shit, and they're gonna be like, that looks kind of awkward, that doesn't look that good. Same with the CGI car chase. There are ways of doing a crime without a CGI car going through the city. So you make a film that's boring. You make a film that's not much action. You make a film with not much Spider-Man fighting. You make a film with Spider-Man's not that funny. Barely cracked a joke. Idea's supposed to be a serious story, but then you make it so melodramatic it becomes laughable. You make Peter Parker an unlikable, unsympathetic prick. Where you just want to yell at the screen, get over it. You make everybody else just sad, crying, and sad. The acting is abysmal. The fight scenes, the few you have, are poorly coordinated, with shaky cam, sometimes shots being too close to the face. Sometimes you can't understand what's going on. Poor handling of source material. Trauma dumping on a kid who's going to die in a year. But somehow this is a good ode to Spider-Man. I read a lot of Spider-Man comics back in the day. This is the worst iteration of Spider-Man I've ever seen. This is the worst movie of Spider-Man I've ever seen. This is the worst. I will watch Far From. I'll watch. I do not like Spider-Man No Way Home. I'd rather watch that than this. I do not like Spider-Man 3. I'd rather watch that than this. I like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I pretty much like Spider-Man 2. I actually grew to appreciate The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a bit. It has its flaws, but I don't hate that film like other people do. I've learned to... The stuff I do appreciate in that film, and that's actually my third favorite Spider-Man movie. I know. Go figure. But yeah, all those Spider-Man films I'd rather watch than this. And this is for free on YouTube. I dare people to watch this film. I dare you. It's a 3.5 on IMDb. Or 3.4. I dare people to watch this fucking film. It's for free on YouTube. But you'll feel ripped off. Over $100,000 wasted on this piece of shit. All the fan films people have not been able to do. All the other stuff. Buys two racist, bigoted assholes. But even if you take that out, just a horrible movie. Where they do not understand Spider-Man. And they do not understand the character. And they don't understand what makes him work. And I'm taking what they've done personally out of the equation. It's just a terrible fucking movie. Again, kudos to the effects guys with the Spider-Man swinging. You guys did the best they could. Kudos to the people, whoever did the artwork. Of course, that maybe it was the writer director, so maybe I shouldn't get kudos to them. But I gotta be fair. If they did it, whoever did, they did a good job. Gotta be fair. People say I'm not fair. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.